Hi guys, Kev here with another product information video for you, and today we're going to be talking about Jaffa Clean. Now Jaffa Clean is one of those products that we use a lot here at AD. It's useful for a variety of different surfaces. So what Jaffa Clean is, it's a light degreaser, but it also contains a dressing as well. So this can be used on plastics, rubber, vinyl trims, so things like engine bays, door shuts, boot shuts, door seals, any area that needs degreasing, so like your door hinges, your boot hinges, things like that, and any area that's got a plastic covering, so you can use it for engine covers, things like that. It will remove dust and debris and a light grease, and it will also leave a nice semi-matte finish. It's not really high gloss, but it leaves a nice clean finish. It's a product that I use a lot for door shuts in particular, for removing light layers of oil, grease, and for leaving a nice finish. It leaves a nice finish on paintwork as well, so it's not just for plastics and vinyl and rubber, it can also be used on painted surfaces as well. So available in 500ml and 5 litre sizes. Now you can also dilute Jaffa Clean as well. So the dilution on this one is 5:1. I tend to use it neat, just because it cuts through a little bit more grease that way. But if you've got door shuts or engine bays that don't need a lot of degreasing, just need to maintain them, then by all means you can dilute this down 5:1 with water. So why don't we go through to the bay and let's have a look how it works. Hi guys, thanks for joining me in the bay. So here is our Jaffa Clean, which is our degreaser and protectant. Now I'm going to give you a demonstration on this mini engine bay. Now there's a couple of different ways that you can use Jaffa Clean. One is to spray, agitate and rinse. Now obviously rinsing engine bays, if you are comfortable doing it, then that's fine. Most engine bays are water resistant to a degree. With petrol engines, however, you do want to make sure that you cover any sensitive electrical equipment, such as coil packs, alternators, belts, all that sort of stuff, fuse boxes. Diesel engines are a little bit more resilient. If you are unsure, I would recommend trying to do it in a dry way, so by spraying it, agitating it and maybe wiping it. If you do want to pressure wash your engine bay, however, make sure you cover all sensitive electrics. Once you're done, make sure you run the engine for at least 5 to 10 minutes, let it to dry out a little bit. And if you've got a variable pressure washer, turn the pressure down and make sure it's not coming out too forceful, so it's just a nice stream. Okay, so what I'm going to show you first is the easiest method of using Jaffa Clean, which is spray and wipe. So I've got myself a microfiber towel in my pocket. So what we want to do is try and remove some of this grease and grime that's on top of these plastic components. So you've got the airbox, you've got the battery cover. You can also do it on top of the painted areas as well, so the strut tops and things like that. We can go all the way around the outside of the bonnet. Now I'm not going to do the entire engine bay, I'm just going to demonstrate this to you. So first thing I'm going to do is give it a nice light coat. Okay, I'm going to take a microfiber towel. Now if you've got various areas like these little fins and stuff, I might agitate those with a brush. I'm just going to show you on the flatter panels first. So really easy. The only thing I recommend with this product is you might want to have a couple of towels to hand, because obviously once you've done a few areas and the towel's got quite greasy, you might want to swap it for something a little drier. Okay. Now this is Jaffa as it comes, so as I said earlier in the video, you can dilute this 5:1 with water if you wish. I just tend to use it as it is. Okay, it's got a lovely orange fragrance as well. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't leave a really high gloss finish, but it does leave a nice sort of satin semi-matte finish. So for the other areas, so like the strut tops for example, again, similar sort of process. Now if you have got a towel that's getting saturated with products, you might then want to get a separate dry towel as well, just to buff. So obviously when I go over this area with this towel, it's going to remove the grease and the grime. But if you've applied a lot of product to get to that stage, you can find it might leave a few sort of minor streaks, so you might want to wipe it over with a fresh towel afterwards. So with engine bays, your greatest tool really is your fingers. You use your fingers to get into all the sort of nooks and crannies. This is why sometimes pressure washing an engine bay does work out a quicker way of doing it. However, you do have to be a bit more mindful of where the moisture is going. Okay, so again, pretty straightforward. If you're just trying to give your engine bay a light clean, spray and wipe's ideal. However, I have also got one of our new Dbs brushes. So what I'm going to do with this one is I'm just going to demonstrate what I would do on the more intricate areas. So the flat plastic covers are pretty easy to do. Obviously moving to the actual top of the engine itself. Now this one in particular would be a little bit more tricky because you've got a few different things to work around. You've got the coil packs right there. You've obviously got the plug leads as well that are all on the way. If I was going to do this to a really sort of high degree, I might consider removing some of the components, but we're not going to go into that obviously on this video. So to do the top of the engine, I'm just going to again spray liberally, a little bit on the end of my brush. Now what I want to do is use this then to agitate and to get in all the smaller nooks and crannies. Now again, if this was really filthy, I might consider rinsing this off with a light stream of water. So you can also use a hose pipe. Obviously a lot less pressure with a hose. Again, the only sort of concession I would make to that is you really do want to try and use a towel to dry off as much of the excess moisture as possible. Okay, so you can work this into all the plugs and stuff as well. And again, now I just need to grab my towel. Again, I'm just going to flip it over to get a clean side. I'm going to use my finger. Just going to go around and just wipe off the excess product. So engine bays are one of those areas where sometimes you can get a really quick one. Other times they can be a little bit more complex, sort of like this one. The majority of modern engine bays now, they're 90% plastic. So to do an engine bay clean to a reasonable standard is actually a pretty quick process. It's just that these minis in particular are a little bit more complex with the shapes and the little nooks and crannies that you've got to try and actually get your fingers into. Another good tip is if you get your brush, you wrap your towel over the end of your brush. You can also then use the end of the brush to actually get into areas you wouldn't normally get your fingers. Or you can use, if you've got smaller things, things like the barbecue skewers work quite well as well if you wrap a microfiber towel around one of them. Okay, so as I said, it's not 100%. I'm just trying to give you a demonstration of what the product does. Now what you do want to try and do is, if you can, is get rid of as much of the excess product as possible. It's just going to give you a nice cleaner finish than if you leave excess product lying around. Okay, so one of the other uses for Jaffa Clean as well is we use it in the door shuts quite a lot. Things like around the boot shut and to do the door seals and the window rubbers as well. So again, similar sort of application. If you've got a door shut that isn't particularly dirty, spray and wipe is perfectly fine. If you've got a door shut that's really bad, again, you might want to spray, agitate it and rinse it. But in this case, I'm just going to spray it, I'm going to agitate it with a brush, and then I'm just going to wipe it clean with a microfiber towel. Now, when you have Jaffa, so when Jaffa's at home and you stored it in your shed or your garage or wherever, because it contains two components, it can split in the middle. So before you use it, just give it a good shake just to make sure it's all one colour. And then I can just liberally apply it straight to the door shut. Now, when I'm doing this process, this is normally done prior to washing the vehicle. So any overspray that I get on the exterior of the vehicle isn't going to be a problem because it's going to be washed off anyway, so I don't have to worry about it. If I was going to do it after I've washed it and I've, for example, say I forgot to do them or I realised that they needed doing a bit more, spray it directly onto the towel and it'll still work in the same way. Okay, so I spray some of the door shut, I spray a little bit in the end of my brush. Now, when we're doing door hinges, what we want to try and do is avoid removing too much of the lubricating grease or oil from the actual barrel of the hinge. So we can remove it from the face of the hinge, from this side of the hinge, but we'll try and leave some of it around the barrel. If you're going for a deep clean and you want to get it all gone, then you can do. But you just be aware that you may have to re-grease them afterwards to avoid any sort of door clicking or screeching issues. Okay, so you can see, so one of the reasons why sometimes a rinse is beneficial is you will loosen a lot of debris from inside a door shut, especially one like this. However, for the purposes of this demo, I'm just going to wipe it down and just show you. Okay, so that's my brush done. I'm just taking standard microfiber towel. Personally, for doing a vehicle, I always think that the door shuts are one of the few areas that most people tend to neglect a little bit. And personally, I think it's one of the areas that makes the biggest difference, or the biggest impact. Especially you've got a lovely clean exterior, and then you open the door shut, and inside the door shut's grubby. I do find it makes a massive positive impact if the inside of the door shut is as clean as the bodywork. So it's a pretty straightforward process. It can be a little bit tricky to get your hands and your fingers into all the small areas, but as you can see, it's removing a lot of the grime and the grease from this area. So it's a really good product. It's one I do like a lot, and I do use it a lot as well. Okay, so essentially, not do the whole thing, but that is basically the top and bottom of it. Okay, so I'm going to go just down the door again, like with the engine bay. Try and make sure that you get rid of any runs of product. So you don't want to leave any runs coming out the bottoms of the doors or between the panels, anything like that. It is pretty straightforward. Okay, so you can also use it on the plastics. So we've got the sill covers, and obviously the other side of the door shut here as well. So again, sway a little bit along the plastics up into the door shut. Take my towel. Now I'm not going to spend a great deal of time, I just want to give it a quick wipe over just to lift some of this grime. And as you can see, it does leave a really nice semi-matte finish to plastics. Same with paintwork, as long as you get rid of the excess product. So again, going back to what I was saying earlier about using a dry separate towel once it starts to get saturated, is just to essentially buff it up, you know, like you would a sealant or a polish. Just make sure you go over, just buff that up a little bit, just gets rid of any clouding or haze from the product residue. And again, as you can see, removed a lot of the grease and the grime from those areas. And then we've also got a little bit just to go over the door rubber as well. And again, by doing this with the door rubbers, cleaning them and treating them with a product like Jaffa, it just keeps them that little bit more supple, and it can aid in, you know, especially if we get issues in winter with doors sticking to seals. It can also sort of help prevent that a little bit as well. There you go. Okay guys, so that's the product information video for our Jaffa Clean, which is our degreaser and protectant. Thanks for watching, and keep them peeled for the next video.